Hello students, this is your Mr. GST CA Vishnuvardhan. In this video, we are going to watch quickly the registration chapter, a very important chapter for your exam, you know that. So that chapter we are going to quickly finish in this particular video. See, being registration chapter, ditto same for CA inter and final students, so you can both use this video. So I am recording this using final material, but still it is equally applicable for inter students also. But inter students, some small points whatever not applicable for you that I have removed while posting video exclusively for you. So in the marathon, nothing will be like related to inter people. So in final video, fully will be there for final students. Okay, so nothing to worry. Now coming to the point, sir, registration chapter. Section 22 to section 30 we are going to see here. First of all, section 22, you know, who are liable for registrations? Persons who are liable for registration. So persons liable for registration, we have seen 10, 20, 40 lakh threshold limit and all. So for that purpose, you know, we will divide entire India into three parts. One is special category states. Sir, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Nagaland. The code to remember this is make my trip to Nagaland without mega. That means M for Manipur, Mizoram, not Meghalaya. So the point is, the code to remember is make my trip to Nagaland without mega. That is a code. Sir, in this first part of India, in all this, see, generally special category states for the purpose of section 10, 8 states, stunning ma'am code we have seen. But here it is only make my trip to Nagaland without mega. So only 4 states. 4 states will come in next part. Now, part 1, when we are talking about this, sir, please understand in part 1, sir, whatever you are doing in this particular part 1, exclusively may be dealing with goods, exclusively may be services, both goods and services. For whatever you do here, the threshold limit will be 10 lakhs. The threshold limit will be 10 lakhs. That is part 1. Okay. Now coming to part 2, I repeat, India we are dividing fully into 3 parts. One is make my trip to Nagaland without mega. 4 states, whatever you do there, 10 lakhs only, exclusively goods, exclusively services, both goods and services, it is same. Next, part 2. The code to remember this is, we know, we watch cricket and we see in cricket there will be how many stumps? 3. This side 3, that side 3, correct? So total 6 stumps. So the code for remembering this here is 6 a stump. Okay, that means 6 states. 6 denotes for 6 states here. So 6 a stump. Sir, stunning ma'am, whatever the 4 states are missing, sir, Sikkim is missing, Uttarakhand is missing, next Meghalaya is missing, and next one Arunachal Pradesh was missing in part 1, correct? So here if you see, whatever we have not taken here, 4 states, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya will come here, and Telangana, Puducherry will be added. Okay, so these 6 states. Okay, fine. We know the code 6 system. In this code, sir, in this part, in Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Meghalaya, and Puducherry. Okay, whatever you do, exclusively goods, exclusively services, both goods and services, it is absolutely, the threshold limit is just 20 lakhs. Okay, that is what the concept. Now coming to other part, remaining all other states and union territories are part 3. Sir, here if you are exclusively dealing with goods, then only it is 40 lakhs. No sir, I am dealing exclusively with services also as well as both goods and services also, sir, then it is just 20 lakhs. But even though you are exclusively dealing with goods, sir, if you are dealing with these special products, pan masala, tobacco, ice cream, bricks, fossil mills, earthen or roofing tiles, fly ash bricks, all that stuff, sir, for this 40 lakhs limit is not applicable. That means only 20 lakh threshold limit is applicable for these people. If you see, the same goods we have seen even in composition scheme, but the only difference is, sir, in composition scheme aerated waters was there, here it is not there. That is the only difference, if you have understood. So this is the flow chart. Okay, so 1 second, if you want you can take screenshot of this. So that's all. With this, threshold limits are over. See, so simple, just like easy peasy to see. We have finished this. The threshold limits of registration. Now you will never forget threshold limits 10, 20, 40 always. Okay, you can divide entire country into 3 parts. Make my trip to Nagaland without mega, next 6 system and others. That's all. 10, 20, 40 and 20. Okay sir, fine. Now here, sir, what if the threshold limit is in one branch? What is the threshold limit? If one branch is in special category state, another branch is in non-special category state, it will fall down to 10 lakhs. Sir, in the special category state, if they are wholly dealing with exempt or non-taxable supplies, then what should I do? Then every state will have their own limits. Okay, let me see, for example, sir, here Andhra and Manipur, we are making supplies 32 lakhs and 6 lakhs. Aggregate turnover is 38 lakhs. But for both the states, it will become 10 lakhs only. So in both the states, you are supposed to take registration. Okay, next. Sir, here I am making a taxable, I am making supplies, taxable supplies from Andhra Pradesh and exempt supplies from Manipur. If you see, sir, aggregate turnover is 38 lakhs. But sir, threshold limit, what is the threshold limit? Because in special category state, you are exclusively dealing with exempt supplies. You are exclusively dealing with exempt supplies. Sir, you can happily what? the other state, whatever there, the other state in that branch, that will happily enjoy the threshold limit. It will not be disturbed by the presence of special category state. Are you understanding the point? So I repeat, sir, if there is one branch is in special category state, one branch outside the special category state, in special category state, if you are dealing with exclusively exempt supplies, then your presence in special category state will not have any impact on the non-special category state branch. It will enjoy its own threshold limit. Hope it is clear for you. Now, sir, what is the definition of aggregate turnover? We have seen already aggregate turnover definition in composition scheme, correct? Sir, aggregate turnover, very important point. As I told you before also, aggregate turnover, the very important definition. Sir, aggregate turnover means it includes taxable supplies, exempt supplies, exports, interstate supplies between distinct persons. That means distinct person, one distinct person to another distinct person, interstate supply will be added in aggregate turnover, but it will not exclude CGST, SGST, UTGST, IGST, GST compensation cess, and value of inward supplies on which tax has been paid under reverse charge mechanism. Okay, so that is what the concept. Next, sir, what are the important points regarding aggregate turnover? Aggregate turnover includes turnover of all the branches. We know that is pan India turnover, value of exported goods and services, exempted goods or services, interstate supplies between distinct persons. All these things will be added. Next, all supplies made by the taxable person, whether on his own account or made on behalf of all the principals. So that also will be added in this aggregate turnover. So that is what the concept. So all the supplies made by the taxable person. If you are a taxable person, whatever the supplies you are making on your own account and also on behalf of some other principals, that also will be added in your aggregate turnover. Okay, next. That is the aggregate turnover definition. Now coming to the next one. Sir, as I already discussed, sir, some goods are not eligible for 40 lakh threshold limit. They will enjoy only 20 lakh or 10 lakhs if they are in special category state. That point we have already discussed. Next, that 10 lakhs overall limit will follow all the stuff we have discussed. Next, interest income. Point G, here something I have missed out. So interest income, if you are using our compact book just or my GST book, just make sure here interest income. Sir, interest income, see, as we have already discussed, interest income shall be ignored for the purpose of calculating aggregate turnover, but this is only for the purpose of section 10. If you remember, sir, for section 10 we will ignore interest income. For section 10 we will ignore interest income, but this is not section 10. We are calculating aggregate turnover for section 22, correct? So here interest income cannot be ignored. Okay, so now if you see, Mr. Hanuman of Andhra Pradesh provides following supplies of goods. He made some supplies to Mr. Ram, 12 lakhs, to Mr. Lakshman, 7 lakhs, to Sita, 10 lakhs, and he earned interest on fixed deposit from Ayodhya Bank, 2 lakhs, and supplies made on behalf of his principal, Mr. Sugriv, 2 lakhs. What is his aggregate turnover, and is he eligible for registration? Is he liable for registration, not eligible for registration? Sir, aggregate turnover, if you see, this 12 lakhs, this 7 lakhs, this 10 lakhs, this 2 lakhs also we should add, and this 2 lakhs also we should add. Total how much? Sir, aggregate turnover is 12, 19, 27, 27 plus 4. 1 second. 12 plus 7, 19, 19, 29, sorry, 29, 29 plus 4, 33 lakhs. Sir, aggregate turnover 33 lakhs, but still he enjoys the threshold limit of 40 lakhs. Sir, what is this I am trying to tell here? Sir, first of all, understand, his aggregate turnover we have understood, whether he is liable for registration or not. Sir, here my only point is, he is receiving an interest income, correct? He is receiving an interest income. Because he is receiving interest income, it is supply of service. So his threshold limit we should fall down to 20 lakhs? No, the answer is absolutely no. So here there is an explanation saying that, sir, the explanation says, even though you are providing, normally if you are providing services, your threshold limit is 10 lakh, 20 lakh, correct? In part 3, sorry, in part 3 also, sir, if you are providing in all the states, part 1, part 2, part 3 are there, no 3 parts. Sir, here if you see, if you are providing services 10 lakh, 20 lakh, and here it is 20 lakh. If you are dealing with exclusively services or both goods and services. Here we are in Andhra Pradesh, even though this fellow is earning service income, he is lending money which is nothing but service, and for which he is getting interest. So automatically threshold limit should fall down to what? Threshold limit should fall down to 20 lakhs. But the law says, sir, if any person is receiving only interest income or discount income and no other income from any other services, then he will be still So sorry, there was an audio issue. So as the law says, if any person is receiving the interest income or discount income alone, and if he's just dealing with only goods, he's dealing with goods, but he's only having one service income, that is interest, then still he will be treated as he is exclusively dealing with goods, and hence he is eligible for threshold limit of 40 lakhs. That is what the concept. Okay, fine. Next, so the next one is simple one. If there is any transfer of business, sir, if there is any transfer of business, obviously what, the transferor is registered now, the transferee also should definitely go for registration. And if it is a corporate style of amalgamation, merger, all these things, demerger, etc., then in such case also, if the transferor entity is already registered, the resultant entity should also go for GST registration. So that is what the concept all about. So here there are some examples also, you can just go through this. So the next section is section 24, compulsory registration. If you see compulsory registration here, see who has to take compulsory registration. Sir, if you are dealing with interstate supply of goods, then definitely you should take for compulsory registration. For that we have a notes here. See, first of all, understand, you are making interstate supplies. Sir, interstate supplies I am doing, sir, but I am doing interstate supply of services, sir. Interstate supply of services. If you are dealing with interstate supply of services, you happily enjoy the threshold limit. Enjoy the threshold limit, that is 10 lakh, 20 lakh, whatever is applicable for you based upon the state. Sir, enjoy the threshold limit. No, sir, I am dealing with goods. If you are dealing with goods, and if you are dealing with notified handicraft goods or any other notified goods, then in such case you also can make interstate supply with respect to those goods, but you should obtain a PAN card and generate e-way bill wherever you are transporting the goods. But the important thing here is, sir, for them the threshold limit of 10 lakh, 20 lakh is applicable, 40 lakh threshold is not applicable. Okay, that is what the concept. Okay, sir, what if it is other goods? Any other goods you are dealing and you are making interstate supplies, definitely you should take registration. Compulsory registration is required. That is what the concept. Right. So that is with respect to first point. Now the next one. Sir, casual taxable person. Casual taxable person also same story. With respect to notified handicraft goods, yes, he can enjoy the relaxation, but otherwise he has to definitely take registration. Okay, if he is dealing with notified handicraft goods, handicraft goods means which are like predominantly made by hand, 51% at least by hand, and 49% machinery is fine. Next, the person is liable to pay tax under RCM. That means the recipient who is liable to pay GST, he should definitely take registration. Next, but please understand here one important thing, when you are going with RCM, in RCM cases, certain cases they will say only if the recipient is registered, RCM will come into picture. In that case, if he is already registered, then he will pay GST under RCM. Or if he is not registered, RCM is only not applicable, because RCM is applicable only when he is registered. So if he is unregistered, automatically RCM will not come into picture, he need not take registration. But sir, in certain cases like body sponsorship services, if you see, recipient should be body corporate or a partnership firm. So in that case, they did not focus on whether the recipient should be registered or unregistered. So if the recipient is already registered there, he will go and pay GST directly. No sir, he is unregistered, then he will come take registration under section 24, because compulsory liable for registration, because he is liable to pay GST under RCM, and he will pay. So simple. Law says registered, then only RCM. So registered only RCM, unregistered FCM. If law says just if this fellow is coming into picture, RCM will come into picture. Whether he is registered or unregistered, it is not specified in law. In that case, registered also RCM, unregistered also RCM. So if he is registered already, let him proceed, pay tax. If he is unregistered, first take registration and then pay tax. Okay, that is what the point. Okay, fine. Coming back to the one, sir, persons liable to pay tax under RCM. Yes, we have seen. Next, persons required to pay tax under section 9 subsection 5. E-commerce operator, Ola, Swiggy, all that. Next, the non-resident taxable person. Next, person supplying online money gaming from a place outside India to a person in India. Example, best example, Bet365 or PUBG, etc. Any other OIDR services where without information technology they cannot supply the service. Next, every e-commerce operator who is required to collect tax at source. Amazon example. Next, regarding that we will see the example. Just wait for some time. Next, persons who are required to deduct tax at source under section 51. Any local authority, Greater Chennai Corporation or Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagarapalike, like that, or Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation, GHMC, that way. Next, persons who supplies on behalf of other taxable person. That means if the principal is registered or liable for registration, then automatically agent is also supposed to take registration. Next, input service distributors. Definitely to distribute the credit, he has to take registration. That is CA final concept. Okay, so in CA final you would have seen input service distributor. That fellow to distribute the credit automatically has to take registration, without which he cannot distribute the credit. Next, The next one is the person who makes supply other than section 9 subsection 5 through e-commerce operator who are required to collect tax at source under section 52. So persons who make supply through e-commerce operator. First we have seen e-commerce operator to whom section 52 is applicable. I have told you is that here example Amazon. Sir, through Amazon whoever is supplying that fellow has to take registration, but relaxation is there in section 23. We will see the notes here actually. Next. Okay. Sorry. Here when I'm discussing, I discussed about the supply of okay. OIDR services is here. Yes, example PUBG gaming company, all that, or Netflix also you can take. Next here, person supplying online money gaming. Okay. Online money gaming from place outside India to a person in India. Okay. Online money gaming, Bet 365, Rummy Circle kind of games from outside India. Online money gaming is different. Online gaming is different. Online money gaming involves betting. So online gaming you can take PUBG, online money gaming you can take Rummy Circle, Bet 365, Dream 11 kind of thing. Okay, so if anybody from outside India providing these services to a person in India, then definitely they should take registration. Very important, mark it important. Now coming to e-commerce operators, we have certain discussion to make. Some small flowchart we have. Sir, here understand e-commerce operators. Now let us take two types of e-commerce operator covered under 9 subsection 5 and others. Sir, e-commerce operator covered under 9 subsection 5 means that they are liable to pay GST under 9 subsection 5. In that case, sir, because e-commerce operator is liable to pay GST, TCS provisions are not applicable. TCS provisions are not applicable. So who is liable to pay GST here? E-commerce operator. So who will take registration? E-commerce operator will take registration. Okay. So registration will be taken by e-commerce operator. So supplier through e-commerce operator, that fellow need not take registration because e-commerce operator is liable to pay GST. No, why should I take registration? No, sir. No, sir. Other e-commerce operators, sir. For here example, we can take Ola, Uber, all that. Here, if you come Amazon, Flipkart, all that. Sir, here supplier is only liable to pay GST. E-commerce operator doesn't have any responsibility to pay GST here. So TCS provisions are applicable in this case. So because TCS provisions are applicable, e-commerce operator is definitely liable to take registration because he has to collect tax at source and give it to government. Number one. Next, sir, supplier also should take registration. But section 23 says that your supplier, you are supplying goods or services through e-commerce operator, you enjoy the threshold limit, but the threshold limit is only 10 or 20 lakh, whatever it is, as the case may be. You just enjoy the threshold limit. That is what they are saying. So hope it is clear for you. So you can just go with the flowchart here. So e-commerce operators which are covered under 9 subsection 5, e-commerce operator is liable to pay GST, TCS will not come into picture, and e-commerce operator will take GST if he is liable to pay GST. Okay, so supplier need not take GST registration. In other cases, supplier is liable to pay GST, so TCS provisions are applicable, and e-commerce operator is liable to pay take registration, and supplier of goods and services, they can enjoy the threshold limits. Next. So I think we are done with section 24 now. So with this we are done with section 24. So coming to next one, section 23, persons not required to take registration. So mostly we would have done them in section 24 itself. Persons who are exclusively making non-taxable supplies and exempt supplies. For example, I am running a liquor shop, Amrut liquor shop, no need to take GST registration. Or Dr. Vishnuvardhan MBBS FRCS London return, no need to take GST registration. Any agriculturist who is an individual or HEF to the extent of produce of cultivating the land is not liable for registration. That means here we are not talking about producer companies or any agri based companies, sir. They are liable to take registration. Okay. Next, persons who are engaged exclusively in making RCM supplies other than this metal scrap dealer. Okay, that means for example Jolly LLB advocate is there, sir. They are liable, they are not required to take any registration because all their supplies are covered under RCM. But if it is a metal scrap dealer, please understand, if it is for metal scrap dealer, the metal scrap dealer, what they will do, as long as they are unregistered, RCM will come into picture. Once their threshold limits are exceeding, then they should take registration. Simple. They cannot say because metal scrap is covered under RCM, we will not take registration. It is not like that. I repeat, metal scrap dealers. So if you see, I am a metal scrap dealer, sir. So when my sales are 0 until it touches the threshold limit, then all my sales are subjected to RCM, so the recipient will pay GST. And once it is exceeding the threshold limit, then what will happen? I will become liable for registration and I will take registration. And now reverse charge mechanism is not applicable, only forward charge. So I repeat here, sir, simple. If you are a metal scrap dealer, please understand, as long as your aggregate turnover is not touching the threshold limit, you enjoy the relaxation and GST shall be paid under RCM. But once your aggregate turnover exceeds the threshold limit, then you are supposed to take registration, and then FCM will be coming into picture. So as long as you are liable for registration and you have not taken registration, so RCM will come into picture. Once you become liable for registration, then you have to take registration and automatically FCM will continue. Okay, you cannot escape from taking registration. That is what we are trying to tell here. Next, persons making interstate supply of services can enjoy threshold limit of 10-20 lakhs. That is what we have discussed here actually. So if you are making interstate supply of services, straight away you can enjoy threshold limit. But if you are dealing with goods, you should definitely go for compulsory registration. Otherwise, in case of notified handicraft goods, all that stuff. So this point also already discussed, that is regarding that notified handicraft goods. And any person making supply of goods or services through e-commerce operator, that is what we have just now discussed. No, sir, through e-commerce operator, this point, sir, this is what we have understood. Okay, this is from section 23, the relaxation. So we have already discussed section 23 while discussing section 24 itself. Okay, so the person making supply of goods, if you see through e-commerce operator, as we have discussed, that they can enjoy the threshold limit, the relaxation, correct, but they have to follow a procedure. Please understand, earlier we were not allowing the people dealing with goods selling through e-commerce operator. The sales through e-commerce operator were not allowed to them unless they got the registration, because if they are making supplies through e-commerce operator, they can make interstate supplies also. And we have a provision in section 24, if you are making interstate supply of goods, you should definitely take registration, correct. So if I allow you to make sales through e-commerce operator, you may make interstate supplies even without registration. Like that, government had a fear. Now they brought in a procedure where, sir, if you are a person dealing with goods also, you can enjoy happily, go through e-commerce operator, you can make a sales and you can enjoy the threshold limit for registration. But the condition is, you should not make any interstate supplies and you should not make supplies in more than one state. You should have a PAN and declare that PAN in the GST common portal and obtain a, give your address, the place of business, all that stuff, and the state whatever is there, you select that and you will get one enrollment number. That enrollment number will not be granted more than one. That means for every state you cannot get one enrollment number. What you should do, you take that enrollment number and give to the e-commerce operator. So e-commerce operator should make sure that you are not making any interstate supplies. So I repeat, if you want to sell goods through e-commerce operators, or what you should do, sir, you should first go to GST portal, give your PAN, business details, I mean the address, place of business, the state, everything. You will get enrollment number, and for one PAN only one enrollment number will be granted. It cannot be like for each and every state you will get one enrollment number. Okay, so that is one. And next you have to submit that enrollment number to the e-commerce operator, and e-commerce operator should make sure that you are not making interstate supplies. So tomorrow if I become liable for registration, and then if I want to take registration, then you take registration, but enrollment number whatever is there, that ceases to be valid. That ceases to be valid. That is what the concept. Next, commission agent who is making sale or purchase of agricultural produce through APMC. Sorry, commission agent who making sale or purchase of agricultural produce. That's all. Is he required to take registration, sir? He is dealing something which is exclusively exempt, sir. Then for him, what is the need of taking GST registration? So that is what all about. Section 23. Persons not liable for registration. So the next one, if you see section 25, 26, 27, is a time limit for taking registration. See, normally for casual taxable persons and non-resident taxable persons, they should apply for registration at least 5 days prior to the commencement of the business. But for others, sir, first start business, become liable for registration under section 22 or 24, and after becoming liable within 30 days, you apply for registration. That is what the concept. Sir, if you are doing supplies from territorial waters, then take the registration from the state or union territory which is nearest to the appropriate baseline. Simple. And while taking registration, you know, PAN is the basic document which is mandatory. And if you are applying for registration to comply with section 51 provisions, the PAN is the document which is necessary for you. With that, you can proceed. Okay, so that is what the point. Next, sir, suppose if I am a person from outside India providing online gaming, money gaming services to person in India, sir, then should I declare my PAN and address or the state service? Not required, because you will not be having any PAN and you will not be residing in any of the states of India, correct? So these people are excluded from declaring their PAN and the state in which they are residing. But understand, these people, when they are taking registration, they should have an authorized representative in India. So they should appoint a person who is authorized person, and that fellow's PAN will be used. That is a different story. Okay, fine. Now coming to the next one, state-wise registration. This we have already discussed in supply chapter. Nothing but, sir, wherever you are having branches in multiple states, so in those states from where you are making the supply, you have to take registration, provided the threshold limits, etc., etc. Sir, if I am having multiple branches within the same state. Should I go for multiple registrations, sir? Not required. Single registration is sufficient. It is not required to have single registration or mandatory. Only you should have one registration. You can have multiple registrations. It is up to you. So one place he can declare multiple branches. One place he can declare as principal place of business. Other places, other branches he can declare it as additional place of businesses. Okay. Next, as I told you, sir, taxpayer having multiple places of business in one state, separate registration is optional. Okay, but if they want to take registration, they can take registration, and later on, if they take registration, what will happen? The supplies happening between the same branches within that particular state also will become supply. They should raise a tax invoice and they should pay tax on that, and recipient can take ITC. All that nonsense is there, just like normally the points we have already discussed in supply chapter. Next, registration under composition levy. So if one registered person in composition scheme also we have discussed that if one fellow wants to go for normal scheme and all other places become, all other registrations will become ineligible for composition scheme. Do you remember? So in composition scheme we have multiple branches, sir. Some branches wants to go for normal scheme, some branches we want to go for composition scheme. Is it possible? Not possible, right? Everybody go with composition scheme or everybody go with normal scheme. That is what we have already discussed. Same way, sir, if one fellow becomes ineligible for composition scheme, automatically other persons also will become ineligible for composition scheme. That is another point. Next, this is something important here, sir. What is that? Sir, normally in one state you said there are like single registration is sufficient, multiple registrations not required, not mandatory, correct? Now, sir, what if in the same state I have one unit in special economic zone, one unit in domestic tariff area, that is outside special economic zone? Then what should I do, sir? Then definitely you should take multiple registration, separate registration. So in same state, I repeat, one unit is in domestic tariff area and one unit is in inside special economic zone. Then definitely you should take two registrations. That is what the concept. Okay, one registration is not sufficient. Here regarding that, there are examples, you can just go through this. And for all the registrations within the SCZ, sir, within the same state, yes, one registration is sufficient. So hope it is clear for you. Next, voluntary registration. Yes, you can go for voluntary registration even though you are not liable for registrations. And distinct persons, 25 subsection 4 and subsection 5 we have already discussed. Next, another important one, sir, what is unique identity number? Okay, what is unique identity number? Okay, so here before going to that, I will just show one small point. So here how many registrations required now? For all SCZs within the same state, one registration is sufficient, and one for outside DTA. Another registration for a branch outside SC. Okay, so there is what the answer for this question. Check that properly. Next, so as we were discussing unique identification number. Sir, what is unique identity number? Please understand, unique identity number, simple, nothing but, sir, this is granted to specialized agencies of UNO or any multilateral or financial institutions, consulates or embassies. Why this is granted? Now, purely for granting them refund on the notified supplies they have purchased. Sir, these foreign embassies, consulates, they are purchasing something on the notified purchases, whatever the GST they have paid, they can ask for refund. That refund to ask, they should have some communication with the GST department. That communication itself is nothing but unique identity number. So these foreign consulates, embassies or specialized agencies of UNO, they will make an application to the GST department. Sir, like this we want a unique identity number, then that will be granted. Or MIA, that is Ministry of External Affairs, MEA, sir, they also can recommend to the GST department, then they will be granted unique identity number. So either they can apply or on the recommendations of MIA, sir, they will get unique identity number within 3 working days. And this is a centralized UIN. So state wise you need not take any UIN, centralized UIN. So that is what the point. So the purpose is only for what? Claiming the refund of taxes paid on notified inward supplies. Okay, that is with respect to unique identity number. So if you look at the next one, that is suo motu registration by proper officer. See, suo motu registration by proper officer, suo motu registration by proper officer. See, generally you are liable to register, but you have not taken registration and you are caught by the proper officer during that inquiry, search or inspection, any other proceedings. Now what the proper officer will do, proper officer will grant you the temporary registration and will ask you to submit all the relevant documents and then take the final registration. So what is that you have to do now? You have one option. Yes sir, now I am caught red handedly, so let me apply for registration. Like that, submit all the documents whatever are required and take the registration. This is number one. Within 90 days you can do this. Number two, you may feel like proper officer doesn't know anything, so let me go for an appeal. You can file an appeal inside the department, within the department itself, and ask, sir, whatever the order passed by your officer is not correct. If they agree with you, no problem. But they are saying, no, 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 our proper officer is correct. Then what you will do? Then nothing to do, sir. Within 30 days, what we have to do? Within 30 days from the grant of order, passing the order by the adjudicating authority, sir, what you should do? You should apply for registration within 30 days. Okay, that is what the concept of suo motu registration. So the next one, procedure for registration. Before going for procedure for registration, let me just finish this off. Deemed registration. Sir, there is a single registration for all the taxes, sir. Separate tax, you need not take separate registration. So one single registration is sufficient. And any registration granted under any SGST or UTGST Act, it is deemed to be that registration or UN is granted under CGST Act also. Okay, that is the another point. Next, effective date of registration. Very important point, effective date of registration. So what is this effective date of registration? Now, if you are applying for registration within 30 days from the date of becoming liable for registration, effective date of registration is when you became liable. No sir, after 30 days if you are applying, then it is date of grant of registration certificate. So for example, sir, you became liable on 1st November. You are applying for registration on So you're applying for registration. You're applying for registration on 18th November. Within 30 days only you're applying and you're getting registration certificate. Second. Sir, 1st November you became liable. 18th November you are making an application. 4th December you are getting registration certificate. So what is the effective date of registration? Effective date of registration will be 1st November. Effective date of registration will be 1st November. Okay, that will be 1st November. Am I clear? No sir, I became liable for registration on 1st November, but I'm applying for registration on 4th December, sir. I got registration certificate on 10th December. What is the effective date of registration? 10th December will be the effective date of registration. Okay, hope I am clear. Simple. If you are applying for registration within 30 days, date of becoming liable itself will be the effective date. And one more advantage, if you apply within 30 days is you can take ITC under section 18 subsection 1 clause A if you remember. Okay, otherwise you cannot take that. Sir, I am applying for registration after 30 days, then the effective date of registration is date of grant of registration certificate, not the date of becoming liable. So that is what the concept. Next, so there are small points which you can just go through. Next, so let us move on to registration procedure. Right, so if you go through procedure for registration, there are two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is generally like what we should do from the applicant side, and part 2 is all about processing done from tax officer, proper officer side. Okay, so that is what the concept. Now coming to the point, sir, part 1, what it says, first of all, sir, in part 1 again there are two parts, are part A and part B. First thing, when we are applying for registration, we should give our PAN number, mobile number and email ID and state. Whatever the PAN you have given, that will be cross verified with the database of CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes, and your mobile number and mail ID will be verified through OTPs which are sent to the PAN number, linked mobile number and mail ID. So the point is, sir, mobile number and mail ID will be verified through sending OTPs to the PAN linked mobile and email addresses. Okay, that is another interesting thing, recent change. Next, Once it is done, all these things, that is your PAN, mobile number, mail IDs are verified, you will get one thing called temporary reference number. By using temporary reference number, you can go inside and finish the part B of the application. So in part B of the application, nothing but all your personal details, that means the first name, middle name, last name, all the stuff, what is the type of business, regarding business details, then the place of business, principal place of business, additional place of business, what is the business you are going to do, top 5 goods and top 5 services what you are going to deal with, like that, complete details. If it is a partnership firm, all the details of the partners, company, directors details, all these things will be given and will be submitted. The part B of the application will be submitted. Okay, now so as I was telling, sir, taxpayer details we will be giving, business details will be giving, authorized signatory, authorized representative, principal place of business, additional place of business, goods and services, bank account, like this, all details you will be giving in the application. Okay, so now after giving all those details, you will submit the application. While submitting the application, please understand there will be something called Aadhaar authentication. So whether you are selecting or not, that becomes very crucial. So imagine you have selected that Aadhaar authentication option. Now what will happen, sir, if you have selected Aadhaar authentication option? Sir, how do Aadhaar authentication happen? How does this Aadhaar authentication happens? Now please understand, sir, when we have selected Aadhaar authentication option, what will happen? Sir, we will get a mail to our mail ID regarding the Aadhaar authentication link, and that link, if you click, that will be taken you to a browser. In that, you enter your Aadhaar number and the mobile number to which the Aadhaar is linked, to that mobile number OTP will be sent, and that OTP if you enter, that means your Aadhaar authentication is successful. Okay, so if Aadhaar authentication is successful, that's all. This is how Aadhaar authentication happens. If Aadhaar authentication happens, what is the advantage? Na? Sir, the advantage is the processing of your application will be done by the proper officer in 7 working days. That means within 7 working days from the submission of application, sir, either your application will be accepted or they will be sending a show cause notice to you. Registration certificate they will grant, or they will send a show cause notice to you asking for some more details or clarifications. And now you should reply for those clarifications within 7 working days. And once you reply for the clarification, sir, if the proper officer is happy with your reply, then he will accept that reply and he will grant you registration certificate. If he is not happy with that reply, then automatically he will reject the application. So this is what happens if Aadhaar authentication is successful. So please understand, if Aadhaar authentication is successful, one biggest advantage is the processing time limit, of the application. The processing time limit of the application, sir, it will be processed within 7 working days. So within 7 working days, either you will get registration certificate or you will get a show cause notice. Once you get a show cause notice, reply to the proper officer within 7 working days. So if you are not replying, the application is deemed to be rejected. Please understand that. Sir, you are giving the reply and he is happy with that reply, then you are giving reply, he is happy with your reply, then he will grant you registration certificate. No sir, he is not happy, then he will reject your application. So he will also again process within 7 working days. Now the problem is, please understand, sir, what if the Aadhaar authentication has failed? Maybe because the name mismatch or the mobile number is not available, some reasons, some technical reasons, Aadhaar authentication failed, or you have not opted for Aadhaar authentication itself when you are applying for registration, or proper officer wants to carry out site verification, or the system has selected your application for site verification and biometric based Aadhaar authentication. That means there is no OTP verification and all. They will take your thumb impression and will do biometric based Aadhaar authentication. For those cases, what they will do, they will take 30 days time for processing your application. 30 days from the date of submission of application, they will process your application. So within 30 days from the date of submission of application, that they will either grant registration certificate to you, or they will ask you some clarifications by sending show cause notice. Now what you should do, again same story, you should reply to the show cause notice within 7 working days. And if you are replying within 7 working days, proper officer may feel happy with that reply and he may grant you registration certificate. Or if he is not okay with that, then he will reject your application. That means, please understand, if Aadhaar authentication has failed, or Aadhaar authentication not opted, or proper officer has selected your file for site verification, or system has selected your file for site verification and biometric based Aadhaar authentication, then the starting point, the processing of the application, the starting point will differ. So generally here what will happen, sir, here it is 7 working days, 7 working days, 7 working days, correct? But here what will happen, this is 30 days, 7 working days, 7 working days. That is how it will change. And here the 30 days also, if you see, the 30 days calculation will be different. The 30 days is from the date of submission of application. What do you mean by that, sir? What do you mean by that? Na? Sir, 30 days from the date of submission of application means the date of submission of application means the date of Aadhaar authentication, or 15 days from the submission of application in Part B of Form GST REG01. What does it mean, sir? That means, sir, you submitted the application Part B from that date of Aadhaar authentication or 15 days, whichever is earlier. That means if you have selected Aadhaar authentication and if you are not doing, the system will wait for 15 days for you to do Aadhaar authentication. That means here 15 days waiting period plus their 30 days, total 45 days you have to wait if you are not doing Aadhaar authentication. So Aadhaar authentication is really very important for the registration, so that the time delay can be reduced. Okay, that is the concept. Next. So we are done with this. What if Aadhaar authentication happens and what if Aadhaar authentication is not happening? That the time limit of processing all these things will differ, that we have understood. Now coming to the point. Next. Sir, here we are discussing time limit now, 7 days, 7 working days, 30 days, all that stuff and all. Sir, in those cases, please understand, proper officer also has a time limit, you are also having time limit. If proper officer is not doing his duty within the time limit, then the application is deemed to be accepted. You are not doing your duty within the time limit, that means you are not replying within the time limits, then the application is deemed to be rejected. That is what important thing. Okay, sir, fine. Now, sir, so long you have been worrying about doing Aadhaar authentication, sir. For whom we should do Aadhaar authentication, sir? How? I have already explained. You will get the mail, all the stuff, entering the OTP. Everything I have explained. How I have explained. So the only thing is, sir, who should do the Aadhaar authentication, sir? How we will do that, we have discussed. Who should get it done? Sir, obviously, if it is a sole proprietor business individual, he himself should get Aadhaar authentication done. In other cases, for HUF Karta, for company managing director or whole-time director, for a partnership firm partner, for AOPI, BOI society, their members, for trust, board of trustees. For them, we should get the Aadhaar authentication done. Now, sir, when physical verification of the principal place of business will be done? As I already told you, Aadhaar authentication failed, or you have not opted, or proper officer wants to carry out site verification, or the common portal has selected your application based on the data analysis and risk parameters for biometric based Aadhaar authentication, then physical verification will be done. And physical verification, for doing physical verification, the interesting thing is, sir, the physical presence of the applicant or the registered person is not required, sir. Physical presence of the applicant or the registered person is not required for carrying out the physical verification of the premises. Okay, that is what the point. Next. So now when they are carrying out the physical verification, what will happen? Sir, after the grant of registration, they may be doing physical verification, or before the grant of registration also they may be doing the physical verification. Sir, if they are doing the physical verification after grant of registration, you may be feeling, sir, after granting registration, why physical verification will come into picture, sir? Because Aadhaar authentication has been like a recent topic, not from the beginning of GST. So earlier, who got registered under GST law, they did not do Aadhaar authentication. So now, sir, if they are getting their Aadhaar authentication done, sir, the verification report will be uploaded within period of 15 working days after that verification. Okay. Now, sir, before the grant of registration, that means your application has to be verified, correct? So other physical verification is being done, sir. Somebody will come and do the physical verification, and they will upload a report to the other officer. That officer will process the application fully and grant you registration certificate. So whoever is coming for the physical verification, when he should complete the physical verification, at least 5 working days prior to the completion of the time limit. We have discussed 30 days, all that stuff for processing the application. So here, before completion of this 30 days, at least 5 days prior to completion of this time limit, somebody should go do site verification and give me the report. Then I will process the application and see whether okay, everything is fine, I should grant registration certificate, or I should ask him any clarifications like that. Then I will decide. So first, one officer will go and do site verification, they will give a report to the higher officer, and that fellow will do the processing of the application. Okay, so when that other officer should go and do site verification, at least 5 days prior to the 5 days prior to the completion of this time limit, the other officer should go and do this. Okay, that is what the concept. Next, as I told, while doing this site verification, that particular registered person or the applicant need not be present physically, right? So as I already told you, sir, what is the time period for processing the application? Aadhaar authentication is successful now, 7 working days. from the date of submission of application. From the date of submission of application. Other cases, sir, 30 days from the date of submission of application. Okay, so what is the date of submission of application meaning? Whenever the Aadhaar authentication is done, that date, or 15 days from the date of submission of part B, whichever is earlier. That will be the time limit. Okay, that will be taken as date of submission of application. So this is how the registration procedure will take care. And now Aadhaar authentication also, if you see, for registered person, if you are going for Aadhaar authentication, as I told you already, sir, if you are already registered but your Aadhaar authentication is not done, for you there are certain drawbacks. What are the drawbacks now? You cannot file the application for revocation of your cancellation, and you cannot file any refund application under Rule 89, and you can also not apply any refund application under Rule 96. Okay, so these are the disadvantages if you are already registered under GST before the Aadhaar authentication concept came, and now you are not getting Aadhaar authentication done. These are the three drawbacks for you. Okay, so you will not be eligible for this. So if you want these things to be done, you should do your Aadhaar authentication. That is what Rule 10 is saying. Sir, now, okay, sir, fine. For me, Aadhaar number itself is not assigned, sir. What should I do, sir, immediately? Sir, don't worry. First, apply for Aadhaar card, get that enrollment ID, and along with that, your bank passbook with the photograph or voter ID or passport and driving license. You please submit these things. Aadhaar enrollment ID slip, along with that, these things. You just submit, and then later on, whenever you get the Aadhaar number, then you finish the Aadhaar authentication. That is what the concept. Within the period of 30 days from getting the Aadhaar number, you do the balance Aadhaar authentication concept, everything, finish it off. Right. So that is with respect to Aadhaar authentication and everything. And yes, here, sir, for certain people, Aadhaar authentication is not required, sir. Who are those people for whom Aadhaar authentication is not required? A person who is not a citizen of India, and state or central government establishments or departments, local authorities, statutory bodies, public sector undertakings, a person who is applying for unique identity number. For these people, Aadhaar authentication is not required. Okay, so that is what the concept. Now, sir, here there is something, a small rule called Rule 10A here. What is that Rule 10A? Nothing but, sir, they are asking you to update your bank account details at the time of applying for registration, or even after getting registration also you can update your bank account details, but you should do that within 30 days from the date of grant of registration, or before furnishing the GSTR1 or IFF, whichever is earlier. Am I clear? So you should update your bank account details in GST portal within 30 days from the grant of registration, or before furnishing your GSTR1 or IFF, whichever is earlier. But the crazy thing is, now recently they have updated the concept here, amended the concept here in Rule 10A. If you are not doing that, if you are not updating your bank account details, your registration shall be suspended, and later on you update the bank details, automatically suspension will be revoked. But sir, registration is suspended and registration is also cancelled. Now you cannot go and do the other, update the bank account details, and automatically it will not get revoked. So simple, your registration will be suspended. Immediately you respond and give the bank account details, suspension will be revoked. But this you should do before cancellation. Okay, that is what the concept. In case of sole proprietor, sir, we have also to link the PAN with the Aadhaar. For the proprietor PAN, we should be linking it to the Aadhaar. Right, so those things we have discussed, and Aadhaar authentication, everything. So with this we are done with registration procedure. So the next one, if you see the special procedure for registration for NRTPs and CTPs, we already know the meaning of NRTP and CTPs. A non-resident taxable person means who doesn't have any fixed place of business or fixed place of residence anywhere in India. But coming to CTPs, or CTP is a person who doesn't have any fixed place of business in the state from which he is making the supply. So CTP and NRTP, already we have the idea. Now coming to the point, sir, registration procedure here, as we have already seen, in registration procedure they should apply for registration at least 5 days prior to the commencement of the business. That is a different point for them. And GST registration is a PAN based, but NRTP will not have the PAN in India. You will get the registration based on other prescribed documents. What are the other prescribed documents? As I told you already, self-attested copy of valid passport along with the application signed by an Indian authorized signatory who is having a valid PAN. So no sir, the NRTP is a business entity incorporated outside India. With that registration certificate what they got outside India, that unique number they should use here, or if they have any PAN in India, that also they can use. Okay, so that is what the point. Fine. Now the normal form GST REG 01 can be used by normal taxpayers, that also can be used by casual taxable person. There is no other separate form for applying registration for CTPs, but for NRTPs there is a separate form. Okay, fine. So that is okay. Here the important thing is this, the advance tax and the validity. These are the two very important points. But generally, when we are taking registration for normal people, we will not have any concept of advanced tax in GST. But for CTP and NRTPs, what they have to do, sir, they are asking for registration, sir, whatever the period. Normally the registration certificate validity will be lifelong. But here, for CTPs and NRTPs, sir, the validity will be 90 days maximum. They can ask for 10 days, but they will get 90 days. The number of days for which registration is sought for, or 90 days, whichever is earlier. So they can ask for 10 days, they will get 10 days. They can ask for 40 days, they will get 40 days. They can ask for 120 days, but they will get only 90 days. So please understand how much days they have asked, and 90 days, whichever is less, that much only they can have the validity. And they also have the option to extend that validity before the expiry of that validity, registration validity. They can also ask for extension of the validity. So now what they can do, extension also they can ask for maximum 90 days. That means I can say, sir, initially they can ask for 90 days, and plus again another 90 days extension. That is possible. Another 90 days extension, that is possible. Now please understand. So here the concept is, sir, when they are applying for registration, when they want registration certificate for, first let us assume 20 days, they are going for any exhibition, participating in that and selling the sarees, all that stuff. Sir, in such cases, sir, for the 20 days they want registration. No, for the 20 days, what will be the GST liability? That they have to calculate before, and then that liability they have to first deposit, and then only their application for registration will be processed. Okay, hope it is clear for you. And again later on, if they are asking for extension also, when they are asking, sir, for example 5 days extension, they are asking for 5 days, whatever is the tax liability going to be there, that they should calculate and they should deposit. That is what the concept of advanced tax. That means CTPs and NRTPs, sir, while applying for GST registration, they should also assess their tax liability, how much that can be for the period what they are asking for registration. That amount they should deposit in advance, and then only the registration application will be taken up for processing. Okay, this is one different point. Once the registration is granted, sir, whatever once the registration is granted, sir, whatever they have deposited, that amount will reflect in e-cash ledger. Of course, after registration is over, or whatever it is the expiry, there can be some shortfall or excess amount. If they have paid the short paid, then they can again deposit the cash. If there is any excess amount, they can claim it as refund. Okay, that is another point. Right, so that is the concept. Now coming to validity again, stressing on that validity point. So here if you see, so the registration validity itself will be, as we were discussing, 90 days and 90 days. See, first, that means you can say maximum 90 days, but it doesn't mean that, sir, first I have asked only for 20 days, sir. Now I can go for 120 days, sir. Can I ask that way? No, you cannot do that. Sir, first you have asked for 20 days. Later again, when you are going to ask, you can ask maximum for 90 days. That's all. You cannot ask more than that. So each time you can ask only maximum 90 days. Okay, that is what the concept. So that is why maximum 90 plus 90. Sir, first I have asked for 10 days, sir. Now you'll ask for 120 days. Not possible. Sorry. And there is one more clarification here, sir. In case of long run exhibition for a period more than 180 days, what should I do, sir? You don't do anything. Take registration as a normal taxpayer. Don't call yourself as a casual taxable person. There itself obtain registration as a normal taxable person. Once the exhibition everything is over, cancel your registration and go back to your place. That is what the point. And the allotment letter granting the permission to use the premises of the exhibition, that itself will be treated as proper document for granting you the registration certificate, treating it as place of business. That is with respect to CTPs and NRTPs. Now the next one, if you see the special procedure for registration for people who want the registration certificate because of TDS TCS provisions. Okay, section 51 52. So they can make an application in the GST portal in the prescribed form. Okay, and once they make it, they will get it in 3 working days after due verification of the application. But sir, later on tomorrow in future, they are only asking, sir, we don't want this registration anymore, or upon inquiry or pursuant to any other proceedings under CGST Act, proper officer is satisfied that these people to whom we have granted registration certificate for the purpose of section 51 and 52, sir, they no longer need that. They're no longer liable to deduct tax or collect tax. Like that, if he came to an opinion, he can cancel their registration. Okay, so that is what the concept. Officer may cancel the registration. So that is what with respect to this. Next, coming to input service distributor. Coming to input service distributor, sir, he will also make a separate application for registration as an input service distributor. The only important point here is that there is no threshold limit for registering as an input service distributor, sir. Okay, that is what the point. And ISD mechanism, you know, it is like without a separate registration, with normal registration, you cannot act as an input service distributor. So that is what the point here. Next, if you see, you can just go with this rule 14. Then now next one is regarding the section, the registration procedure, special provision for people who are supplying online money gaming from outside India to a person in India. So for them, nothing but this person who is providing supply of online money gaming services from place outside India to people of India. Sir, what he should do, he has to take one simple registration. That's all for across the country. Sir, one registration, a single registration under simplified registration scheme is more than sufficient, and he has to take registration there. Sir, if he is having a physical presence here in India, no problem, fine. Or if he is having any representative in India, then it is fine, they can take registration. Sir, if he doesn't have any physical presence, or if he doesn't have any representative in India, he shall appoint a person in taxable territory for the purpose of paying tax. If he is not doing that, he is not taking registration and not paying taxes, you know, obviously the government, what Indian government will do, sir, we will ban your application or the website, whatever you are using for providing this online money gaming. Okay, so here, in case of failure to comply with the above provisions, supplier of online money gaming, then what will happen? As per section 69A of Information Technology Act, the information generated, all this stuff will be liable to be blocked for access by the public in such manner as may be specified in that act. So if you are not following this, not paying tax, then your app or website, etc., will be blocked in India. That is what the concept. So the next topic is with respect to amendment of registration certificate. Sir, you might have given various details when you are applying for registration, but those details might be like changed now. Maybe like principal place of business is a change, like there is a change, or mail ID, mobile number, there is a change. In partnership, from one partner might have died, so there may be change in number of partners or directors, all that stuff. So there might be changes, correct? So when there are changes happening, those changes should be updated with the website. So amendment for registration should be applied. Now before applying for amendment, sir, when we should apply for amendment? Now within 15 days of the change, whatever has happened with that within 15 days of the change, you should apply for the amendment in the registration certificate. Now here, going for the amendments, sir, there are two things actually. Amendment may be in core field area, amendment may be in non-core field area. Core field area means, sir, it can be legal name of the business, address of the principal place of business or additional place of business, change in partners or directors or any other key managerial personnel. Or non-core field, example, I told you, email address, mobile number, all that stuff. Sir, the point is, sir, if it's a core field amendment, then, sir, within 15 days of change you will apply, correct? There is a change, from that within 15 days you will apply. And after you applying, sir, proper officer, what he will do, he will process in 15 working days. Sir, if he is processing, what he will do again, he will give you the amended registration certificate, or he will give you show cause notice. If he is giving show cause notice, you know, you should reply within 7 working days. Then your reply may be satisfactory or may not be satisfactory. Sir, he should process your reply within 7 working days, sir. Okay, he should process your reply within 7 working days. So it is 15 days, 15 working days, 7 working days, and 7 working days. So the point is that just like we have seen, no, registration, application processing, all this stuff, there is a change, there is an amendment, then what you have to do, update that within 15 days. Once you update, proper officer should process that within 15 working days. After processing that within 15 working days, he may be happy, he may grant you the amended registration certificate, he is okay with the details, or he is having some doubts, he will ask for clarification. So if he is asking for clarification within 7 working days, you should reply to the clarifications. So within 7 working days, you are replying to the clarification. Then that clarification he should process within 7 working days. He may feel like all are okay, grant registration certificate. He may feel no, all are not okay, then he will reject the application. So now please understand, as I told earlier, sir, if there is mistake from proper officer end with processing the application within the time limit, then it is deemed to be accepted. If there is any mistake from the applicant, from our end, we are not doing the things in time limit, then it is deemed to be rejected. Okay, that is what the point. And non-core field, any amendments, that stands automatically updated. Okay, next. So there is change in constitution of the business, sir. Because of that, there is change in PAN itself. Then you should apply for a fresh registration. Change in PAN is not a amendment in registration. Okay, so that is what the point. Okay, fine. Remaining things just leave it. Not a big one. So that is what with respect to amendment of registration. The next one is cancellation of registration. Cancellation of registration, see, understand, either you can ask for cancellation, that is voluntary cancellation by the taxpayer, or suo moto cancellation by the proper officer. Proper officer also can cancel your registration. Now, sir, what can be the reasons for cancellation? See, these are the common reasons. Actually, these are the, this set is, they are common reasons for both voluntary cancellation as well as suo moto cancellation. For both, these are the common reasons. What can be the reasons, sir, why we will be cancelling your registration, why you can ask, or why we can cancel? In case of discontinuation of business, transfer of business, death of proprietor, amalgamation, demerger, change in the constitution of the business. Change in constitution of the business means sole proprietor converted into firm, firm converted into a company. Okay, in those cases. Okay, next, taxable person who has taken voluntary other than voluntary registration, who is no longer liable for registration under section 22 or 24. 22 or 24 said me, sir, earlier to take registration and I have taken. Now those sections got amended where I am not liable for registration anymore, then also that registration can be cancelled. Okay, that is fine, simple one. This is very, very, very important point. So this is very, very important point. What is that? Suo moto cancellation by proper officer, section 29 subsection 2. So suo moto cancellation by proper officer. Why proper officer will cancel your registration on suo moto? Guys, these are like not common reasons. This is only for suo moto cancellation. Sir, if you have registered and you are not doing business from the declared place of business, sir, or you are issuing invoice or bill without supplying the goods or services, sir. That means, can I say fake invoices? You're issuing fake invoices, sir, or you are violating the provisions of anti-profiteering measures, sir, or you are violating the provisions of rule 10A. 10A, just now we have seen that bank account details updating. Next, you are availing ITC in contravention with section 16. Next, your outward supplies in GST R1 or 1A are more than 3B. That means your sales, what you are disclosing in 1 are greater than whatever you are disclosing in 3B. Because in 1 you have to give information, you have given full information. In 3B you have to pay tax, you don't have money, so you are showing less amount. Sir, you are violating the provisions of rule 86B, sir. Next, you are violating the 86B, 1% of tax payment in cash, so that you are not doing. You are violating the third or fourth provision of rule 23 sub rule 1, sir. That is nothing but, see, here your registration cancellation has been revoked. Revocation of cancellation of registration. Sir, in that case, what is happening? You should file all the pending returns within 30 days after the revocation order. That you are not doing. That is the case here. Okay. So I repeat, sir, when your registration is cancelled, you are going and asking for revocation. When you are asking for revocation, they are asking you to file all the pending returns after revocation, which you are not able to file right now. So revocation order is granted and you are supposed to file the pending returns. You are not filing that within 30 days. Then again they can cancel your registration. Next, registered person who is required to file GSTR 3B ma section 39 is nothing but what? 3B. Sir, 3B continuously for 6 months. So GSTR 3B for continuously for 6 months you did not file. Or 3B when you are supposed to file on quarterly basis. That means here, can I say, in this case, sir, you are a monthly filer, and in this case you are a quarterly filer, that is QRMP scheme fellow. You are a QRMP filer. You have not filed GSTR 3B continuously for 2 quarters. Continuously for 2 quarters. Then your registration can be cancelled. Or you have opted for composition scheme and not filed the return of the financial year even after 3 months from the due date of filing. Sir, due date of filing GSTR 4. They are talking about GSTR 4. GSTR 4. Sir, due date is 30th June to file it. Earlier it was 30th April. Now it is 30th June. Sir, that 30th June is over, sir. That 30th June is over by 3 months, sir, already. Still you did not file. Then your registration can be cancelled. You have taken voluntary registration, but you have not commenced the business within 6 months. Or your registration is obtained by fraud, willful misstatement, or suppression of facts. Then also your registration is liable for cancellation. Suo moto cancellation comes into picture there. Okay. Now, sir, application and procedure for cancellation here. If you see, Sir, you will apply for cancellation, all that stuff. Then there will be cancellation proceedings going on, all that. So basic the procedural aspect here. This you can just go through once. Not that greatly relevant. If you don't have time, you can just ignore also, not an issue. Now coming to the next one, just go through that once. Suspension of registration. See, understand, suspension of registration, sir, when your registration is being cancelled, first they'll give you show cause notice, all that stuff, and till the registration cancellation proceedings are pending, your registration will be first suspended. So registration is suspended means that during that period you cannot file tax returns, you cannot issue tax invoice, and you cannot make any taxable supplies. Okay, so till the cancellation proceedings are concluded, your registration shall be your registration shall be suspended. Am I clear? No more taxable supplies, no more tax invoice, and no more filing the returns. That is what you will do in suspension period. Now, sir, when this suspension will be revoked, sir, when this will be settled, sir, once cancellation proceedings are over, either your cancellation is proper, so they will finish cancellation, so suspension itself will not be there anymore, or sir, this the cancellation proceedings, they have decided no, your registration is not liable for cancellation. Then what will happen? Your suspension will be revoked. So at any point of time, once cancellation proceedings are over, no matter the result is positive or negative, your suspension will be revoked. That is there. But one interesting point is, sir, proper officer has the power to revoke your suspension, power to revoke your suspension even during the pendency of cancellation proceedings. Even during the pendency of the cancellation proceedings, he has the power to revoke the suspension. Okay, so that is one interesting thing. That is with respect to cancellation here. Suppose if your suspension is or cancellation is initiated because of not filing the returns, once you file all the pending returns, automatically suspension will be revoked. That is another point. Next, so I think I have discussed all the points here. Okay, so that is with respect to suspension, and there are other small points, you can just go through that. Now the very important point is, sir, revocation of cancellation. Sir, your registration is cancelled, sir. That registration cancellation, what we are doing, we are asking for revocation. Sir, when we are asking for revocation, we should go and apply for revocation within 90 days. Within 90 days. But if you remember, if you have not done other authentication, revocation you cannot apply. Okay, that is what rule 10b. If you are not complied with rule 10b provisions, sir, you cannot apply for revocation. Okay, sir, 90 days over, sir, but I did not apply, sir. There was some family problems or health related issues, etc. So we did not apply, sir. What should I do? You can go to the additional commissioner or joint commissioner. They can condone the delay. AC or JC, additional commissioner or joint commissioner, they can condone the delay for a further period of 180 days. That means it is not 90 including that 180 days. 90 days is there? No, it is not like that. It is 90 plus 180 days. So it is 90 plus 180 days. So please understand that 90 days is given in law, 180 days extra additional commissioner and joint commissioner has the power to give you. So that is what the point. Now the interesting thing is, sir, when your registration is cancelled because of not filing the returns, sir, what is the effective date of cancellation, sir? You know, see, understand the interesting thing in section 29, when the registration is being cancelled by the proper officer, the proper officer can cancel the registration from any date which he deems fit. That means he can cancel even with retrospective effect also. He can cancel the registration with retrospective effect also. So in such cases, sir, imagine, look at this question. Sir, I did not file the returns from Jan to June continuously for 6 months, sir. So my registration is being cancelled. My registration is cancelled on, imagine, July 5th, and the revocation is applied on July 20th. Now, what is the responsibility of, imagine, Mr. Aravind while applying for revocation under section 30? We understand now the problem is from when it is cancelled. Sir, Jan to June I did not file the returns, but from prospect effect, immediate effect only, they cancel my registration July 5th. So what should I do first? Jan to June, whatever the returns are pending, that I should file, and then I can go and ask for revocation. Okay. So revocation order is passed on August 31st, imagine. Sir, Jan to June I have filed all the pending returns, correct? Sir, Jan to June all the pending returns I have filed and I got the revocation. But July, August are still pending. Whatever the pending returns are there at the time of revocation, sir, what we should do? They should be filed within 30 days. They should be filed within 30 days. Just like I discussed just now. Otherwise your registration is liable for cancellation again. Okay, that is the point. Sir, no sir, actually the point is, what if they have cancelled my registration with retrospective effect of Jan 1st? That means now even one single return I cannot file, sir. What should I do now? Now you first go and ask for revocation. First go and ask for revocation. Sir, once they give the revocation within 30 days, so they have given revocation August 31st. So within 30 days, now you file all the returns from Jan to August, whatever the pending returns are there, all those returns you have to file. Okay. So first apply for revocation and then within 30 days file all the pending returns. That is what the concept. So simple, sir. When your registration is cancelled, because of not filing the returns, whatever the returns you are able to file, just pause the video and go through this, sir. Whatever the returns you have filed, please understand, you can file that, you file, and then balance returns after revocation within 30 days you file. Okay. So no sir, I am not able to file any returns, sir. Then first go for revocation, ask for revocation, and then whatever the pending returns are there, that you file within 30 days. That is what the concept. So that is how we have finished all the important topics, or mostly the entire registration chapter has been revised. So the next amendment, if you see, there is a mistake here in the heading. You can just ignore this heading, whatever has been given there, clarification on ITC demo vehicles, all that. So here this particular concept is all about, sir, we have added newly situations where your registration can be cancelled on suo moto. So for suo moto cancellation of registration, sir, new reasons are added here. What are these reasons? No, nothing but, see, when you apply for revocation of cancellation of registration, they will revoke your cancellation, asking you to file all pending returns, correct? So all the pending returns should be filed within 30 days, from the date of order of revocation. Okay. So whatever the pending returns are there, once revocation order is given, sir, the revocation order is given means within 30 days you should file all the pending returns. If you have not filed the pending returns, then your registration is liable for cancellation. Proper officer has the right to cancel the registration. He gave you revocation believing you that you will file all the pending returns and now you will be a good boy. Still you are continuing the same thing. So they will not entertain this. Now the proper officer got again the power to cancel your registration. Okay, so that is what this amendment all about. New proviso, third proviso and fourth proviso are added below rule 23 sub rule 1. So hope you have enjoyed this revision lecture. So please understand, yes, we are done with the theoretical discussion, everything. So if you are going through some good number of questions, ICA study material, book back questions and model test papers, you take it, and from that you just in the search bar you type registration and you get the questions related to registration and go through those questions. That will be more than sufficient. With that you will be more comfortable. So whatever is required, that we have completely discussed in detail. So wish you happy reading and enjoy your preparation. Thank you so much. See you all in another video. This is your Mr. GST signing off. Jai Hind.